Hey there! Thank you for tuning in today. While we wait a few more minutes for everyone to join in, I'll give you an overview of what to expect from today's session with Victor Riparbelli, CEO and co-founder of Synthesia. First, you will hear from Victor the story of how Synthesia was born and what were the key technological breakthroughs that made it possible. Then, Victor will give you a product tour of Synthesia Studio. He will do an in-depth overview of key features and share tips and tricks for creating engaging videos. You'll also get a sneak peek at our product roadmap. Victor will introduce features and concepts that are still in development. Then you will learn about a few cool use cases, and Victor will share concrete results from 2 case studies. Last but not least, we'll have plenty of time for a Q&A, so post your questions in the chat and Victor will do his best to respond to each of them. Be sure to watch the webinar to the end. Victor has prepared an invitation for you to a special event. The session is being recorded and will be shared with you in a few days. That's it from me. Victor, over to you.
Thank you very much to Anna, our favorite AI presenter. So today we got a really exciting program ahead of us, and we will just jump straight into it. So when we sent out this invite for our webinar today, we asked a lot of you if you had any questions up front that you would like us to go through. And one of the requests that we got a lot of actually was less on the product side and a little bit more about Synthesia, the company, and how Synthesia actually got started almost 5 years ago now. So I'll kick this webinar off with a bit more of a personal story about how me and my co-founders met each other and why we decided to start Synthesia. What you're seeing here is the very first webpage for Synthesia. I think this is 4 years old or 5 years old now. And this is at the point where we were purely at an idea stage, and we were trying to find the right investors that wanted to back us on this crazy idea. Before this website, the story is that I'm from Denmark. I'm from Copenhagen originally. I've been in startups for more or less 10 years of my life. Loved building things, spent some time in the US, and eventually decided to move to London to work in frontier technology, so specifically AI. And I was very interested in VR and AR at the time. I did a lot of work in VR and AR, and I'm still personally a big believer, and I love AI, AR and VR. But I quickly realized that the market for AR, VR isn't really there yet. But there's this very interesting shift that had happened in the world of technology where deep learning and AI had made some incredible breakthroughs and had gone from being more kind of toys to being way more actual technologies you could use for things. So you've probably seen how self-driving cars, for example, took a major step change 4 or 5 years ago. Same thing with VR headsets and AR headsets. And I got very interested in these underlying technological breakthroughs, and especially how you could apply those to video, because video was already a very big market, obviously still is today, and is only growing. So with that in mind, I set out to talk to a lot of interesting people, and I ended up speaking with Professor Matthias Niesner, who used to be at Stanford, and is one of the original inventors of synthetic video technology. I also met with Lourdes Agapito from UCL here in the UK, where I'm based right now, and Stephen Cherrell, my good old friend from back in the day. We started a few companies before together. And what we got really excited about was we could see how the world is moving to video, right? And I know we have a lot of our valued customers in here today. You know the same thing. Video is a much better means to communicate with clients or employees, or whoever it is that you're talking to. But we realized that the real problem with video was that the production part of it was just really, really unscalable. And we thought that this synthetic video technology, which was so early back then, really was a glimpse into the future of how we're going to be creating content in the future. And our fundamental thesis back then, and still is today, right, is that media production as a whole is going to move from being something that we record with cameras and microphones to something that we can code with computers. That sounds pretty crazy to most people, and it sounds even more crazy when we say things like, in 10, 15 years, you'll be able to create a full Hollywood film on a laptop, no studios, no actors required, do everything digitally on your computer. But if we zoom out a little bit and think of the history of media, it is actually not that crazy, right? Things like image production was digitalized a long time ago with Photoshop. You can create more or less any picture that you want without ever leaving your desk. Same thing for music. We can synthesize instruments, effects. guitars, pianos. And that means that anyone can sit from their laptop and create a chart-topping hit. They don't need to be in a very expensive recording studio in LA. Same thing with text. Once computers were invented, we didn't have to write on pen and paper anymore. We could type on a keyboard instead. And that means that we all started creating much more text and communicating via that. So that's the kind of big idea around Synthesia. You obviously all know our product, and if you don't, you'll have a chance to get a sneak peek at it today. But that's the idea that we met around. And when we first tried to raise money for Synthesia, it was very difficult because it was a very ambitious vision, and it wasn't clear to most people that this was actually ever going to work. We launched this website that you're looking at right now in the middle of trying to raise the money. We'd gotten a lot of no's at that point. But while we were getting to, I think, almost the end of like how much we could endure from a financial perspective of going without pay, my co-founder Stefan wrote an email to Mark Cuban. We'd found Mark Cuban's email address in an old hack, actually, on the internet, where his email address was exposed. And we knew that he kind of liked technology. He'd been part of bringing streaming mainstream back before he got very rich. So we sent an email to him, and I didn't know this at the time, but I see that M. Cuban has signed up to the website that you see right here, and is asking if you can get a product demo. And my co-founder Stefan says, this Mark Cuban has just replied to my email. And I was like, he just signed up to the website, but I thought he was making like fun of him, joking. I didn't believe him. It took a few emails with the actual Mark Cuban on his Gmail address to figure out that this was real and that he was very interested in what we were doing. And for the next 16 hours, we sat behind our computers. Mark would send us questions. We would reply back to them. And in the end, he decided that he would like to invest $1 million in Synthesia. And that was the start of the company. Then it took a few years to build the foundational technology with all the very smart people, researchers and professors that we have in the team. Where we kind of really got known to the world was probably when we did the David Beckham video, which is almost 2 years old now. I'm sure a lot of you have seen it, where he speaks different languages. And that was a big milestone for us, not just because all of a sudden people had some kind of idea who we were. We'd also proven to the world how valuable this technology could be when used for good things. And then we released Studio, which is what we're going to be talking about today. Last summer, it's been live for 10 months now, so edging in on a year. And that has been a fantastic journey where we've gotten to work with so many of the people in this webinar today on making video production way more easier and cooler than it used to be. And we still have a very long journey ahead of us. So I hope you enjoyed that little personal anecdote. If you have any more questions about our funding history and how the company got started, feel free to message us in the comments, and I'll do my best to get back to you. All right, so let's dig straight into Studio, which is our self-service platform that I'm sure a lot of people in this call are familiar with already. If you're not, I am looking very much forward to showing you how this stuff actually works. So here you're seeing Studio, which is our product that a lot of you are probably already using today. I have a list of my videos here, which is not terribly exciting. If we go to the avatars pane over here, this is where you select who you would like to have in your video, right? So we have a broad selection of actors that you can work with kind of straight off the bat. We even have Santa Claus. Some of you might be familiar with him from last Christmas. We ran a big campaign with him. And you can also create yourself as an avatar. We'll be talking a bit more about that later today, but essentially the process is actually quite simple. It's 3 to 4 minutes of footage of you that we need. And from that footage, our AI systems can then learn what you look like or your brand person looks like when they speak. And we can then simulate that in real video. So it is a pretty easy process. And we just launched our integration with a company called Descript, where you can actually also create your own voice clone. This means that rather than having to work with one of our built-in presenters, you can also work with yourself. But for a lot of our clients, they prefer working with some of our built-in presenters. All of these presenters are real actors. So they work a little bit like you would work with stock photos. They get money for every video that's generated with their likeness. And that makes them a nice little extra side income. They get a lot of free time that they can use for other things. Once you click in here, we're then inside the actual creation app. Those of us who tried out Synthesia 10 months ago would have seen something like this, but with a lot less functionality. The key thing here is the script box, which is what I'm targeting in here right now. And this is where you type in what you want your actor to say. So I could put in here, hello, my name is Anna. The system will detect that I'm typing in English. So that pops up down here. I can put it up and I can scroll through different accents and different types of voices, depending on the content I'm creating. As I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with already, you can also create content in other languages than English. We actually support more than 50 languages today. So if we put in Danish, which is where I'm from, you will see that it pops up a Danish here. And we support more or less any language that you can imagine. Once you've typed in some text, you can preview it here and I'll show you a full video after. But this was actually the first version of Synthesia. This was all you could do. You could type in some text and you would get a video of the actor out like this. Today, we have released a lot more functionality than just the kind of text box and the actor. So to show you a little bit about like how far we've come and what some of the latest features are, I'm gonna open up one of my latest videos here, which essentially is a presentation of Synthesia and a little bit of an introduction to how the product works, and also kind of announcing our latest Series A funding round, which you might have seen online. So if we keep on the script box here, one of the things we have launched is the ability to preview scripts and preview them partly also. So let's just share my audio here, I think. A second. So you can either preview the whole script here by clicking play selected. You should hopefully hear what I'm hearing also in a minute.
We're excited to announce our Series A, led by Firstmark Capital, to accelerate our vision of replacing cameras with code.
So this is a good way to sort of instantly check if the pronunciation is correct. Sometimes you need to help the AI a little bit. For example, here I've put in AI. I've put some of these words in quotation marks. The reason I'm doing that is because then the AI system will emphasize that word. So when you're creating your videos, you'll go a little bit back and forth. You'll try different pronunciations. Of course, with time, you won't need to do this, but today we need to help the AI system a little bit to make it understand exactly what it is that we're trying to do. You can also partly listen to something here, so you can mark just a piece of text, click play selected, and then you will only listen to the text you have here. Some of the functionality we've released in the recent months is the ability to add text onto the canvas. So if I click my text button over here and click add text, I will get a text box like this. This really is very much like creating a PowerPoint presentation or keynote presentation. You can select different fonts, colors, shadows, opacity. You can lay out it, do all these different things. If I drag this around inside the app, you also see that it snaps like it does in PowerPoint, which makes it very easy to align content. You can also add images. So on the image tab down here, you can click an image, which could be a logo, could be an image of some other form. You can take a beautiful picture of me here. And we can change the opacity. We can do all these things that you're already familiar with. So this is a great tool when you're creating videos, to not just have the person talking about what you're talking about, but using kind of visual aids to guide the content. You can also add animations. I'm sure a lot of you have tried this out already, and we're working on upgrading this capability. But if you click on the animate down here in the corner, you can select basically different types of animation. So this is the fade in. There's one that comes in from the left and from the right. And these are generally pretty good to give your video a little bit of extra life, just make things come alive a little bit. And that's something that I personally use in more or less all of my videos. We also have the ability to play video backgrounds. You've probably also tried this. You can click on the backgrounds over here. You can upload a video here. And I'll go through that a little bit later in this webinar, but we are adding a lot of added functionality in how you can edit and work with your videos on the platform. Once we've selected a background video here on the platform, it will just play. You can obviously remove or put your avatar around as you like it, make it bigger or smaller, do a circle. You can even put it as voice only. One of the hacks or small things that I actually often do if I want to give a little bit of ambience to the background is that I overlay, or just have the background video sort of more ambience than the actual content, is that I overlay a color to it. So what I've done here is, as you can see, now I'm going to remove it. this is what the video looks like before I did anything. What I sometimes do is I will go into shapes here. I will pull in a square. I will make that cover the whole background like this. Then I will select a color. In this case, I just wanted white, but it could also be that I want like a different color. Let's take it white. I can change the opacity. And then you'll see we can get this kind of cool effect where if you make it opaque enough, you can actually even overlay text and you'll just get this sort of cool effect in the background. Just play the video for you to see, where the background becomes more just something that's kind of makes the video interesting to watch, but not necessarily what you want the viewer or listener to focus on. So this is one of the things that I like to do a lot in my videos, to make them come alive a little bit more. Let's see what it plays.
La próxima iteración de la economía digital estará impulsada por videos y experiencias interactivas. Pero los métodos actuales de producción de videos son costosos, consumen mucho tiempo y no escalan entre idiomas.
This slide in particular is talking about how video is the dominant medium online, and it's really important that we get a better way of making video content at scale. Another thing we're seeing a lot on our platform that I use a lot is product videos. So I'm sure you're familiar with kind of how-to videos. It's a little bit like the one that I'm doing live right now, actually. But if you have a SaaS product, or if you have a complex product of some kind, making videos that teaches people how to use your product can be incredibly efficient. And you've probably also seen a lot of these from Synthesia already. I'm a really big fan of them. What I do here is that I use a video background, which is a screen recording. I recorded this on Loom. That might be a tool that you're familiar with. Simply just took that video from Loom, put it into Synthesia, put in my text here. And I made the avatar into kind of a little square here, right? So we get a bit more space for the actual tutorial. And click play here. And then you will see how I'm kind of clicking around with the mouse, showing how to use the avatar.
At Synthesia, we have reduced the entire video production process of film crews, studios, actors, and cameras to a single API call. On our platform, anyone can create professional-looking videos.
So as you can see, I think this is a great way of informing your customers or employees, like how to do things in your company in a visual way. And because you don't have to record it yourself with a camera, you don't have to do 25 takes to get one that you like. And you can do it in many different languages very, very easily. These are some of the features. There's lots of features that we could go on about, but I think what essentially we're really proud of is that we now have a kind of editing tool where you can do most things you'll be able to do in something like a PowerPoint presentation. And that just makes it a lot easier to make your videos come to life. This video can be found online. I'd urge you to check it out. There's a lot of animations and kind of cool things we're doing in the background. But this is essentially how Studio works, and the quick overview for those who haven't tried it before. With this app, you can, of course, build many different types of content. We'll talk a little bit more about case studies later on, but things like learning and development, compliance courses, making videos for SEO on your website, and so on. It's just very, very easy to do directly inside the Synthesia app. Okay. Great. So now we're getting to something I know that a lot of you have been waiting on, and I'm excited to hear more about, which is what are the upcoming features. Now we've shown you a little bit about what you're able to do on the platform today, but what are you going to be able to do very soon? And we've got a lot of big announcements here. I can already see people are asking about the API out in the chat, and we'll touch upon that as well. But let's just dig straight into what you can expect to come out soon. So first is the API V1 release. We've had our API live for quite a while, but those of you who have played around with it know that it has been a little bit limited in terms of what you can do in Studio. In 3 to 4 weeks, hopefully, we should release V1 of the API, which will enable you to programmatically create video content. So how's that going to work? We're introducing a new concept, which we call templates. And in those templates, you can input variables. So to show you what that actually looks like, let's pull up the development version of Studio right now. give you a sense of what it works like. Some of you might have used mail merge programs, for example, like MailChimp, where you can send personalized emails and insert people's first name, etc. We're launching the same functionality at Synthesia. So when you're writing your script, for example, as I'm doing down here, instead of saying hello Victor, you could put in hello first name. And we could do, basically whatever variable you would like to put in. There's no limit on them. You can also do it directly on the canvas. So if you wanted to have the text here say, hello, Victor, or if you're sales prospecting, for example, the person you're sending the video to, you could put in a variable. You could put in a company variable. And you could even do this with images on the platform. So if I click this image up here, you'll see that down here, I can add an API variable. So maybe for this particular image, I would like this to be the company logo. It's called logo. It's the beta version, so this probably shouldn't be there, but I will call this logo. And once I've built out my template, this is obviously a simplified version. You can do many different slides, etc. On our API, you can then say, I would like to get this video template that I created, and I would like you to put in the name Victor, the company Synthesia, and the logo for Synthesia. And this is something you can do at scale. And it's going to enable a whole new slew of use cases. And we cannot wait to see what you will all build. If there's going to be more questions about this, feel free to ask them in the comment section. But we are doing a major upgrade to the API, and it is coming out soon. We can share with you after this webinar a link to this little experience, which is one that I made. I think we'll do another one on how to create API use cases with no-code tools. But essentially, I made this fun little SMS market update where you put in your name, you put in your company, you select a particular stock, and you put in your phone number. And what happens then is that I'm using Synthesia, I'm using Zapier, which is our integration platform, and Twilio to automatically create a video of what is the current stock price of Google or Facebook or Amazon, for example. Create the video on Synthesia with all the variables, and then send it out to people on Twilio. This is just one example of what you can build. The possibilities literally are going to be endless, and we cannot wait to release this and see what everyone is going to build. PowerPoint to video is another feature that's been requested a lot. I'm not sure why the image is not showing up here, but I can explain this in words. We have a lot of clients where we know that you're using PowerPoint as the background to your slides, and then you have someone narrating them. We are soon launching the functionality for you to just take your PowerPoint file or your Keynote file, drop it directly into the Synthesia app, and we will then load the PowerPoint with all of the slides in the left side. This is going to make it much, much easier for everyone to make PowerPoint presentations into video. And I'm sure that there's a lot of you out there who have been waiting a long time for this. I know I certainly have. So this is also something that we're excited to release, hopefully within the next 2 months. We're also releasing templates. So I spoke a little bit about templates in terms of how that's going to work with the API, but we're also releasing templates that you can just use to create any type of video that you want. This is just a quick selection of 6 of the templates that we're launching. But to give you a sense of what this means and how you're going to be able to use them, I'll just give you a quick sneak peek of one of them here. Everything in these templates and these videos is built on Synthesia using animations and shapes and elements and images that you also have access to today. When we launch templates, you'll be able to select a template and then fill it out with your own content. So you can kind of keep the visual style and part of the content that you may like. And you can make a video that looks really, really good without having to design it yourself from the ground up. Down the line, we're also going to introduce brand kits, which means that you can input the colors of your brand. And we will then make sure that all of these templates are branded in the colors of your particular company, making it even easier to make great video content. I'll just play this video to give you a sense of what one of these templates look like, but there's going to be a lot more of them coming out.
Welcome to our company brand style guide. This video will run you through our core creative assets and how you can apply them in your day-to-day work. Our brand is built around this core brand idea. It is the essence of what our brand stands for. This is an internal positioning that should not be part of any external communications. These are our brand colors. Please make sure to use the exact hex codes when you choose colors. Our logo can be used in many different ways. This is to make sure that our logo adapts well to the design context you include it in. You can download all logo variations from our intraweb. Typography is a key part of our brand identity. Please make sure you have the right typography installed on your individual machine.
So I won't bore you with the full video here, and obviously this is about a brand guide, but you could put any content in here. I'll just show you one quickly, just scroll through kind of like what it looks like. Let's take this corporate update. So here you have the same thing. Everything is built in Studio as it is today, and you can just fill in your own content.
Welcome to this corporate presentation template. Our performance has improved and we have hit all our KPIs. Well done to all teams involved. Our purpose remains the same. We want to make the world a better place by reducing carbon stored in the atmosphere. Given our spectacular performance, you all deserve some rest. I am happy to announce that our next team offsite will be on the Maldives.
So hopefully that gives you an idea of what to come. We can't wait to launch this, and I'm sure that if you don't want to use the templates directly, there certainly will be a lot of creative inspiration in terms of like how you can put your slides together. A fun story around this is that the way we did this was actually we had designers from outside Synthesia say, we asked them to, hey, how does this new video format look? We have an avatar and a presenter. What can you build that looks really cool? And I'm personally really pleased with a lot of the kind of creativity that you're seeing in these slides. And I mean, I'm sure that a lot of our clients out there are already doing things that are way cooler than what I can do so far. But I really think it's going to be great to have these templates that just makes it super easy for anyone to create really cool looking content with all these new layouts and styles. Another one which is coming soon and is very much tied to the R&D that we do here, so all the deep learning and machine learning. One of the big use cases that a lot of our clients are working on is video chatbots. So I'm sure you've all seen chatbots when you're browsing the internet, those things that you type with and they reply back to you. There's no doubt in my mind, and I think in a lot of the people we work with's minds, that the next generation of this is going to be a video-driven experience. Today, you can technically take videos of your favorite presenter, you can render them out, and you can input them into an experience. But for this experience to really be kind of very immersive and be very engaging for the client, it needs to be completely seamless. And when I say seamless, that means that the video, when you're interacting with it, kind of looks a little bit like a Zoom call. That's what we're launching with seamless transitions very, very soon. I'm going to play you an example here of what this looks like. But essentially what you're looking for here is on the left side, I'll play it twice. You can look at both videos. On the left side, you're seeing the output of the platform today. So let's say you have the chatbot say, hello, Victor, how's your day? And then the user does something and we play the next video with that answer. You'll see that in this left video, the actor kind of does like this, the video jumps around and it doesn't look like it's kind of live. It looks like it's like just videos being played after one another. To the right, seamless transitions. This means that you can take any video of the actor in the same size, of course, from Synthesia. You can play them after one another and they will always look completely seamless. And this is not something that when we release this that you're going to have to put on. It's going to be by default. So for the technical minded out here, it means that the start and end frame of every single Synthesia video with your actor is going to be the same. So you could have 1,000 videos of Anna, for example, and you can play them after one another, and it will look like it's just one long video. You can jump in between it. And this is going to enable a whole new set of use cases for chatbots and other forms of interactive video. Let's just play it and see what it looks like, and I'll do a little bit more explaining on how it works.
Hi there, my name is Laura, and I'm looking forward to help you. Our offices are open from Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. You can request an appointment through our app. Can I help you with something else?
All right, so that was one playback. If you didn't catch it here, what you're looking for again is that the left video, you can kind of see when it changes from one video to another, there kind of is like a lag in between them. I'll just play it again in case you didn't catch it.
Hi there, my name is Laura, and I'm looking forward to help you. Our offices are open from Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. You can request an appointment through our app. Can I help you with something else?
As you can see here, we're also introducing idle mode. So idle mode is when your presenter is not doing anything. If you're doing, for example, if you're doing a chatbot, you might have to wait for the user to click a button or to type something back to you. And in this case, you want the actor to just be sitting and idling, right? And this is a mode that we're going to introduce on the API as well. I'm really excited about releasing this because I think we're going to be seeing whole new types of experiences. Like one of our clients is building an interview bot, for example, that helps interview candidates. And with this technology, that's just going to be such a much more seamless experience than it used to be. I see a lot of awesome questions in the chat. I think we'll have to, I'm getting told by my team, we'll probably have to kind of take them in the end, but we will try and get through all of them. Thanks a lot for continuing to put the questions to us. Okay, so next feature, which is also launching in the next month, hopefully the next couple of weeks, is asset management and Unsplash/Pexels integration. Asset management sounds pretty boring, but one of the features that we've had a lot of requests for is for the ability to delete your custom backgrounds and your images. We know that this is a pain, and it seems like it's a very small thing to do for us, but it actually has kind of resulted in a little bit of a bigger change on our end. So one thing is that you'll now be able to rename your backgrounds, you'll be able to delete your backgrounds. But also what we're doing here is we are integrating Unsplash and Pexels. So for those of you who don't know Unsplash and Pexels, I will show you in a second. But essentially they are sites where you can find royalty-free images. So if you wanted to do something, let's say you are building a video and you want to find a picture of a river, then what some of you might do is go to Unsplash, others might just search on Google, but Unsplash is a free place to do it. So let's put in here river. And then I'll get lots of these images of rivers, beautiful images. And all of these I can actually use in commercial content for free. The photographer has uploaded them to Unsplash and given the right license to do so. What you're going to be able to do in Studio is essentially search directly inside Studio, as you can see over here. So you can just search for river or fire or computer or meeting or whatever you would like to search for. And then all the images and videos that you can use will appear down here in the right corner. And all you need to do is just click on that image or video and it will appear directly on the canvas. So it's essentially just a much, much faster way of creating content. And I'm sure a lot of you, when you're creating content, you just need like a background image that's more interesting than a color. And in this case, it can be fantastic to have this tool where you just sort of type in the name of whatever you want to use, and you can just very quickly put it on the canvas. But you can also very easily look at different images and figure out which one that you want to use, rather than having to download it to your computer and upload many images at the same time. Advanced video editing and script matching is also launching very, very soon. This has also been a very requested feature. Those of you who are using video backgrounds today know that right now the feature is pretty simple. What we're launching now is, first of all, advanced video editing. What does that mean? It means you can take a video, put it into Synthesia, and you can cut off the different ends. So if you don't want the beginning of it or you don't want the end of it, then you can remove those. But you can also do a little bit cooler things, right? So if let's say you're playing a background video, which is 30 seconds long, but your script is only 15 seconds long. Then you have to figure out what of the video of those 30 seconds do you actually want to show for your script. This can be done very easily now. As you can see, there's this like little bar down here, and you can essentially move your video around so that you're showing the part of the video that you want to show with your script. That's something that's not possible today. We're also introducing something that we call script matching or match to script. This is something that is very, very, very useful if you're making product videos, the one that I was demonstrating earlier today. We're seeing a lot of our clients make a lot of product videos. And with this feature, we can essentially make sure that the video and the script matches each other. So let's say you're doing a video where you're showing with the mouse how to do something inside of Synthesia. You can record the video. You can, with Loom, for example, you can upload it to Synthesia. You can cut off the beginning and the end where you're like just getting ready. Then you can type in your script of what's going on. You you can click script matching. And as soon as you click on script matching, what we will do is actually we will speed up or slow down the video so it exactly matches the script. This means you don't have to sit and try and write more of the script so that it fills out the whole video, or remove some of your script so that it matches the video. With this stuff, just select the feature, describe what's going on in the video that you're describing, and we will do the magic on our end and just make sure that the video and the script matches up. I've played with this in beta already, and if you're one of those who are doing a lot of product videos, this is going to be a godsend. It is an absolutely fantastic feature, and I can say that because it's not my invention. It's our fantastic product team that came up with it. So I'm really excited to see how you guys are going to be using this, because it's I think this is going to be like a 10x workflow improvement for those people who are doing product videos. Another just a fun small little thing that we decided to do. We have a lot of clients who use Synthesia to do videos for SEO. So for those of you not familiar with SEO, SEO is search engine optimization. And search engine optimization is essentially like working with your website to make it rank high on Google, which has a lot of business value. YouTube has released this new feature where they analyze the video and they divide it up into parts. Synthesia now supports this natively, as you can see here. And this is a big boost when you're doing SEO. So one of our clients, cphnao, a biotech company, is using Synthesia, partly for SEO reasons. And when you now search for cphnao or Synthesia, what will come up is actually this video that you're seeing here. But Google kind of embeds this timeline where you can see all of the different headlines in the video. This takes up a lot of space in the search engine and means that Google really, really likes this video. So each of these dots here is essentially a different slide. And I think this is, for those of you who are doing SEO, will be a major improvement, not just in user experience, but also in your ranking. So that's a nice little tip for those of you who are working on improving your performance in the search engines. So thanks. That was a lot to go through. I hope it made sense, and I hope some of your features that you've been waiting for the most were here. Let's go through some of the questions that have been in the chat. So the first one that I'm just going to stop sharing here. Okay, so the first question that I got here was from Michael Wolf. So Michael asked if there will be an option for different aspect ratios. That's a great question, Michael. It is a request we've had a lot. We have a lot of people now who are actually starting to producing for mobile applications, and I think especially in the video chatbots, that is something that's very relevant. It's not something that's on the roadmap for like the next couple of months, but it is definitely something that we're looking into, and we definitely see the need for having this embedded directly in our platform, especially as the API comes out. Thomas is waiting to use the new version of the API with the German language, and you were told that it'll be ready in May. Since May is almost over, is there any actual date when the API will be accessible? And you think that's a great software. Thanks a lot, Thomas. It should be ready very, very soon, and it is definitely within a month, hopefully in the next 2 weeks or something like that. We're just doing the last testing. We want to make sure that when we release it, it works exactly as intended. But hold out, it is going to be there very soon, I absolutely promise. Andy DeRosa asked, do you have any plans to allow slide playback so that we're able to prove each slide playthrough, video and audio, so we can adjust in the go before we submit for creation? It will save a lot of valuable time. Yes, previewing your video is something that we're working on, Andy. It is gonna, I can't give you an exact timeline. I'd like to say within the next 3 months, where you can essentially preview the whole video before you generate it. When you're creating a lot of videos, this is a really nice addition to the kind of workflow that you can preview it live, not just the audio. So that is something that we're working on, especially with the animations, which we know is a little bit difficult to time to the content. And we also have a lot of cool stuff coming up on how you can time the animations directly to the text instead of having to like put in durations. Can we get saved colors instead of having to type the hex code every time for brand colors? That's That's a great question. I don't think we've actually thought about that, but now that you say it, that makes a lot of sense. I'll definitely pass this on to the product team. I don't think this should be a major thing. So let's hope we can have that maybe within the next couple of months. Can you use two actors in one video, showing customer and business back and forth? I've actually heard this before. To be completely honest, it's not something that we have on the roadmap right now. I definitely see use cases where it could be valuable to do. What I think would be possible, depending on, I don't know what exactly the use case is here, but you could do something on the API where you render out two different videos, where you have one of them idling and just waiting, and then you put the videos together, and you could have the kind of simulation of having two actors in one slide. But it's definitely something that we'll write down, because I can definitely see, especially for learning and development, how that could be very, very valuable. Speaking of brand identity, currently we cannot use our brand fonts in the Studio Text tool. Are there plans to allow for locally installed font use or for font import and upload? Yes, this is also something that we're working on. This is part of the brand kit functionality that we're going to implement. So the way we envision this is that when you sign up as a Synthesia customer, you can put in your brand colors, which will affect the templates, of course. You can upload your logo, and you can upload your brand font as well, so that everything is on brand. So that is something that's going to come with the brand kit. How about transitioning smoothly between different sizes and positions? So I think I saw a question for seamless transitions as well, if it would work between slides. That certainly is the ambition, that if you don't choose like a transition, it will just the background will just fade in and out to the next slide. Different sizes and positions is actually not something that I've thought about, but it's a very interesting idea. I'll definitely take that to the product team. I'm actually curious if you could write me a private message I'm very curious how you would want to use this. Would this be within the same slide? Like you would want to have the pretender like big and then like become smaller, and then you have like some content that comes up in the back. If you could type me a message with that, I'd be very interested in hearing like what your exact use case would be for it. Manus Flats asks if video rendering times will become faster. Yes, it will. We're always working on that, and we know that it's a key element of the user experience. I can't tell you exactly when it's going to be faster, but we should have something coming out soon which will make the video rendering quite a lot faster. Johnny Freelander asks, are there plans for cloning the voice of an actor in addition to cloning the face and the body? We are working with a few partners on this. So some of you might be aware of Descript, which is a company that does voice cloning, and it is actually pretty easy to do. It's like half an hour of audio talking into the microphone. And we're actually launching an integration with them in the coming weeks. So you can just go to Descript, make your voice, take your API key and put it into Synthesia, and you'll be able to use your own voice with your own avatar. So, because we know that having your own voice with your avatar is important if you're somebody that people know. So that's something we're working on. Smiling and nodding is another one. Yes, that is also something we're coming out with a major upgrade to pretty soon. So as I'm sure some of you have experienced, sometimes when you are creating videos, the actor might have like a little bit of a weird head movement. That has to do with kind of technically how the AI rendering is working. But we've been working under the hood on a very, very big upgrade to this. And that means that in the next 3 to 6 months, we will see significant upgrades in what you can do with the avatar. So one of those things is going to be just removing head nodding that looks odd, of course. But it will also mean that you can make the avatars smile. It will mean that you can, within 3 to 6 months, should be able to make them like a nod like this, or shake their head, or maybe they'll look up like to the side. And starting to have those kind of smaller gestures in place is something that we're working in. So can we use Unsplash, pixels, images, and videos? You mentioned images, not sure if I heard videos mentioned. Just wondering if we can use both. Yes, that's both for videos and for images. We support both. And if we get a lot of interest in using this feature, we might also integrate with some additional providers so that we have even more stock content for you to choose from. and hopefully you can do all your kind of content creating for your content directly inside of Synthesia. Ability to blur, kind of camera blur, background picture or video. Any plans for this as a UI slider? That's a great question. I know we did some work on kind of frosted glass effect, which I think is maybe what you're talking about here. That is something actually that is something that we are working on. We should have the technology to do it more or less. So let's hope that's something we can push out in the next 3 months as well as part of the studio upgrade. When adding PowerPoint, will Synthesia pull in animations created in PowerPoint? Great question. So if there's any developers out there who have tried to work with PowerPoint before, you know that it's a very difficult format to work with, unfortunately. What we're doing as a first iteration of our PowerPoint integration is simply just that we are going to take the PowerPoint, we're going to take an image for each slide, and we're going to put that as the background image on your slides to the left. So unfortunately, we're not going to be able to pull in animations, and you're also not going to be able to directly edit the text on the slide. When we release this feature, we'll give some tips on like how we think that we can use this feature the best. But if you want to edit the text, for example, in the slides, we actually suggest that you maybe don't do the text in PowerPoint and just upload the background, add the text in Synthesia, and then you can get the kind of same effect. But unfortunately, PowerPoint is quite a difficult format to work with, probably done on purpose by our good friends at Microsoft. I see people are talking about emotions, to avatar excited or sad, enthusiastic, etc. This is a really good point, and I think the way that we think about where Synthesia is today is that we are so early, right? My dream and the vision and the dream of the team is that, in 10, 15 years, you can make a Hollywood film on a laptop. And anyone who's using Studio right now knows that we're far from being able to make a Hollywood film in Studio today. But we are hard at work on making the avatars come to life more. So being able to have them gesture, being able to have them be more emotional, eventually being able to use their hands and their bodies, having virtual environments and so on. To be a little bit more specific on like the product side of things, we should see emotions and expressions, like significant upgrades on that within the next 6 to 9 months. It is a really difficult problem from a technical perspective. I'm sure you know that the kind of technology under the hood of Synthesia is the most advanced in the world for this. And because we're offering it in such a kind of user-friendly experience, it does introduce a lot of difficulties in terms of like making the tech. But we're well at work, and as some of you might know, we just got some funding recently, $12.5 million, and we are full steam ahead on making our avatars even better than they are today. Please add function to copy shape from one slide and paste to another slide. Yes, I would love this as well, and it's something that we are also talking a lot about internally. So this is something that's coming, and undo is also something that's coming. We obviously make a lot of videos like at Synthesia ourselves. So we also feel the pain of like those small things that are missing. So that is also something that we're working on. Okay, I think there was so many good questions. Thanks a lot to everyone who was super active in the chat and asked lots of good questions. If there's something that I didn't get to answer here, then feel free to send me a message on LinkedIn or ping the team in the chat, and I'll try and get back to you as fast as I can. I have a few things just before we log off today. So some of you are probably already a member of our Synthesia Slack group. If you are not, then I highly urge you to join us in there and talk about the product and give us good ideas and feedback on how things are working. I'm just going to share my screen so you can see what it looks like. So if you look in here, I have my Synthesia Slack open. We do a lot of announcements in here. We're also going to be letting people into beta testing on here. So the seamless transitions, for example, we're going to be launching soon. We share video inspiration, etc. Make sure to join the Synthesia user group, and you can be in direct contact with us all the time. We love hearing what you think and getting all of your ideas. That is the most important thing to us. So make sure you join Synthesia Slack. The second part is our next webinar. So we did a webinar a couple of weeks ago with the BBC, which was a little bit more sort of high level on synthetic media and sort of where this whole space is going. Nina Schick, some of you might be familiar with, she wrote a book called Deepfakes, which is about kind of the bad use of these technologies. She's a very good friend of mine and someone that I spar with quite a lot. And the 8th of June, we're going to be doing a webinar like the one we're in here right now. And we're going to be talking about less about like the product as it is today and more about what does this new step change in communication and technology mean for the information ecosystem, all the fantastic things we're going to be able to do, all the things that people might do which is bad with the technology and how we can prevent it. I spend a lot of my time working with governments, media organizations, etc., on sort of guiding and trying to pioneer where we bring this tech and how we reduce bad use of it. So this one will be a really, really good one. All my conversations with Nina always end up being really interesting, and I'm sure that if you're interested in the space, you'll find it really valuable, and hopefully you'll also learn a thing or two. So make sure that you attend that one as well. I'm sure that's going to be a great one. I just saw one question here from Michael Wolf. I hope you're still here, Michael. But you asked if you could add numeric value to the scaling of the actor. It's easy to miss the setting correctly. This is also something that we're working on because I've been having the same problem as well. So that is something that's coming. With that, I think right on time here, I'll say thank you everyone for attending. I thought this was really, really fun, and I'm going to do this a lot more. And as I mentioned, if you have any questions that did not get answered, then I'm very sorry that we missed them. Ping us on LinkedIn or Slack or in the chat, and we'll do our best to get back to you. And otherwise, have a great day. And I cannot wait to see all the fantastic stuff that you're going to be building with our new features. I can tell you from beta testing this and being in the front seat that we're so early, and we just love working with all of you amazing people in the chat here on how to change the world one video at a time and make an absolutely awesome product. Thanks for your support and all your kind words and your questions. And I will see you very, very soon. Thanks a lot, everyone.